Welcome to the greatest college cream campus in existence. I'm here with my lesser thirds? Is that how that works? I don't know. It doesn't have the same ring to it as lesser half. Um, what if someone's in a relationship where they have two, like he has sister wives? Does he say his better thirds instead of his better half?
I think they would just say better halves. Like, like they would just add an S, and we would all understand what it is because language doesn't need to be an exact science.
Except that one autistic guy who just get me so bothered by it. He'd be like, "Nah, that doesn't make any sense." He'd be trying to fight it, but he can't. He can't. He's sitting there biting his fucking lip, trying to
But
resist.
like as long as you understand what is being said, it doesn't matter, right? Like that's the whole reason slang even works.
Yeah. Well, let me introduce you guys before I go off ranting. We have the man with the plan, the ultimate Nas fan, the electric jolts, EJ, the human calculator with the numerical nomenclature, Raytron, Uno, Dos, Trace. Yeah, Ray is bilingual. So for all the Spanish mommies out there, Ray's here. He knows how to speak your language. He can he can speak to your soul.
No hablo inglés. No hablo inglés.
Yo hablo inglés. But what was I saying? Oh, what phrase did I use the other day? There was something I said that they were using to make fun of how dated my language sounds. Shiner, things like that. It's like, like out of context, what the fuck does that mean, right? But then when someone says it, you know exactly what a shiner is because there's stuff attached to the word, to that colloquialism, Interesting. Or even when I took a test the other day, they were talking about the phrase the whole kit and caboodle. And it's like, people just walk around using that phrase. It has no
I thought it
relevance
was
to us
kitten.
today.
I thought it was kitten and caboodle.
It's a whole kit and caboodle. And it's like, that has no fucking relevance to us today. Like, it doesn't mean anything, but we still use it. We know exactly
why I thought it was kitten, because it's kit and people just say it really quickly, so I thought it was kitten.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
So how a lot of those phrases get like flipped anyway, like head over heels. It doesn't make any sense because your head is always over your heels, but it used to be heels over head. But people just flipped it because it's just easier to say the other way.
Maybe it just sounded better.
Yeah, it just sounded better. They were like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna flip it."
Just gonna get it. I forgot where did that come from? I don't know why I used to do that.
Books.
I don't remember. It came from something. It was like it's just a weird. You just drudged up a weird memory of me and a group of guys who used to do that all the time, and it was a reference to something. I just don't remember what it was a reference
old kung fu movie.
But what I was gonna say, speaking of language and its barriers, it's like watching people try to have discussions about things is so insane these days because it's like it's already hard enough to discuss something with someone to begin with because you might be saying something in a way that sounds in your brain it sounds like really easy to understand, really accessible. Then the words coming out aren't as accessible as you think they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then on the other hand, the person might be projecting their own thoughts onto what you're saying and completely missing your message.
That actually just happened to me.
Yeah. So on top of that kind of conversation, you have people who argue in bad faith and they're not talking to you to reach a conclusion or to reach a consensus or to have a conversation. They're trying to trick you. That's like the whole source of them the whole point of them talking to you. They want to trick you and push you into a corner. I was watching a debate between Eric July and some guy, and the guy just spent the whole time doing that shit.
That's goofy as fuck.
Yeah.
Goofy as fuck.
Yeah, it was very stupid to watch. The thing is, Eric July has an approach that I find very fucking funny. Because he does not, if you start arguing with bad faith, he's not gonna let you bully him. So if you start trying to do hypotheticals and shit, the part that killed me was when the guy is trying to create a situation, like a scenario, the extreme case scenarios that we talk about, where someone's trying to find the only scenario in which their argument works.
Mm-hmm.
The guy tried to do that to him, and all he said was, "I don't like hypotheticals," and he just refused to answer it.
Bro,
He was like,
I
"I
had to do
don't like
some
hypotheticals."
something like that when I was talking to a certain guy that we know. Cause like they always they like to do that. They're like here's this hypothetical. Like say you take X Y Z A B C, and it's like I literally like looked at him and was like, look, man, you can sit here and drum up whatever perfect reality it is where you want me to say X Y Z, but in the same vein, I'm going to just take that perfect reality and break it and make it my perfect reality where I just don't have to do that. So let's just not do this. So I was just like,
Yeah,
it's dumb. It's dumb. Like, we're not doing this.
if there's two things I hate in arguments, hypotheticals are very annoying because like they can be useful, but they're usually not.
And
You
they're
might as well
annoying
just
if you're like only going to pretend that it only works in this very extreme. Like if you give me a
exactly.
very realistic hypothetical, it's like what if you missed the bus? Like that's a normal it's a normal scenario that is very likely. And I was like, all right, you know what? I didn't think about that. What if I do miss the bus? But if you're
Yeah.
like, what if the moon explodes? It's like what the fuck are you talking about? Like the fuck are you
I
talking
agree.
about, bro?
Hypotheticals and analogies, I think, are the two most. People just need to stop using them because they just either the analogy makes no fucking sense, like in relation to the thing they're talking about, and I just can't. It's hard for me. It's like when you're watching a movie and something in the movie happens that doesn't make any sense and it takes you out of the movie.
Yep.
If you're having a discussion with me and you use a really bad analogy or hypothetical, I can't continue the conversation.
Yeah, I will
It's
literally
just
sit there
really
and be like,
bad.
I know what we're talking about is something else, but that argument was so bad. I need to explain to you why it was bad first before we
Yeah.
continue. And I think the real issue here is like being able to use analogies, metaphors, hypotheticals. It all requires a certain level of understanding and nuance, and people don't understand or have nuance, right?
Well, it's not even. I don't even want to make a general statement like that people don't have nuance or understanding.
I will
It's
say that. I'll say it for you.
a lot of. It's not. I don't think it's that. I think it's a lot of the things that people. I just got into a kind of an argument, a low key argument with a girl about this, or at least she got mad at me, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she gets annoyed with me because I will say things, and I guess she keeps calling me judgmental.
Like I said, it
Judgmental.
just happened to me. I got someone
Yeah,
upset at me because they said something and I replied to it and they're like, "That's not what I was saying." It's like, but those are the words that came out your mouth.
exactly. Like, so basically, um, I said the reason why social media I think is like somewhat harmful. I was like things like Twitter and that kind of stuff. I was like it does this thing where it convinces people to care about things that are not applicable to them, that they have no knowledge on, that has no impact in their lives, and they go out in the world just having the strongest opinion on this thing they do not fucking understand. And
Mm-hmm.
then this is the case in which when someone does not understand something, that's when in my experience more often than not they'll begin to rely on hypotheticals because they cannot encapsulate their arguments in relation to the thing they're talking about because they don't understand it, so they start trying to use analogies and hypotheticals
And that's a
and just
lack of
droning on
understanding.
and on. Huh? What were you saying?
That's a lack of understanding. It's a lack of nuance because
Exactly.
like like you said, people really do live in these kind of like virtual worlds, and when they are brought with situations that they have no business talking upon, they will have to rely on what they saw in those virtual worlds,
Yeah.
and they will literally like with their whole chest start debating like they completely understand and that they are the champions of this issue. And it's like, brother in Christ, like you've never even had to sit in a room full of people who are even going through that issue, let alone go through that issue. How are you gonna sit here and tell me about it? Right? It's kind
Yeah.
of weird.
Yeah. And it's like one of the more annoying things. I was talking to Ray about this. Talking to Ray about this literally just like a day ago. Is when so like everyone is allowed to have their strong opinions, except okay, so every person they're allowed to have their strong opinions, but no one outside of them is allowed to have strong opinions. I find that shit so weird. Like someone will sit there yelling, jumping down your throat, He's fucking screaming down at you. And then it's like flip to you talking about something that's, I guess, important to you. And suddenly you're just like this weirdo, and it's weird that you care about this. It's like
Yes.
you were just preaching to me 5 minutes ago.
Because honestly, bro, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. I don't know why you care so much, bro.
You know how long I had to deal with that, and this actually relates to what we're talking about. In regards to movies, right? I have a very, I mean, Ray can probably confirm this. I remember you were just talking about this the other day, and I would not enjoy that comic because of just how deeply I look into things that just would not allow me to enjoy it. And it was like, the thing is, it's like I really sit there fucking combing through a story. Because, like, one, I like writing stuff. So every time I'm watching something, I guess I'm thinking about it from the story perspective immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the way I see it, you know? Like, the emotional part of it doesn't really, the emotion part comes after. Like, I will notice something that I thought was dumb and then realize the emotional effect. And often I'll have to notice this by looking at the people around me. Like, I'll be in the movie and that was kind of dumb, but I see everyone's reaction. I was like, okay, that's why they did it. I was like, they did it because of this. They were going for an emotional like connection and reaction there. So like whenever I start talking about why I don't like comic book movies a lot of the time, right? And okay, I'll give you the specific example I was talking about. That the person was trying to act like I was this like miser who couldn't enjoy anything. Um, I was talking about why I couldn't enjoy the first Scooby Doo movie. I was like, I kind of liked it when I was a kid. I didn't watch it that often. To be honest, I saw Scooby Doo 2 way more often than the first one. Everyone always watched that shit all the time, and it always appeared on like ABC Family, like every fucking weekend, right? But I was telling her the reason I couldn't enjoy the first Scooby Doo is I was like, it did this weird thing where it was like parodying the characters, and it just did not. And it was like, as a guy who's watched a lot of Scooby Doo, and now I'm an adult, it's like I've come like to a point where I can appreciate something at face value. Like you watch the original Scooby Doo series, and you can appreciate it at face value. So watching this thing present the characters in this way that just doesn't seem like them at all. Like Fred fucking admiring his reflection and just being this dickhead was just weird to me. I was like, that doesn't feel like Fred at all. And then, Daphne's also an idiot for some reason, and she's like this pampered queen. That was bizarre. I mean, beyond them though, every other character was like, but it was just weird to see. You know what I mean? So I couldn't enjoy it. I literally started the movie watching it like, oh wow, I remember this. I wonder how this is gonna feel. Let's see if it stands up. The movie was playing for about 2-3 minutes. I turned it off. I was like,
I think I read something recently how in that specific movie I think there was a Velma and Daphne kiss scene and Fred was supposed to be gay. And I think this was just a rumor. I think this was just rumors because of whatever happened with Velma. Like people started they just started talking about all the other Scooby Doo like media. So it was kind of weird. But I feel like even in that first movie, it was kind of a similar thing that happened with Velma, where like it was someone who did not really watch the stuff, but they saw the characters and they just had the like general interpretation. Like if you saw Fred in a vacuum, you'd be like, "Oh, that guy, he's probably like vain. He thinks he's hot shit." Like you would think Fred is the Chad. Yeah. But then if you watch any Scooby Doo media, you're just like, that's a regular fucking guy. In fact, he's kind of a goofball.
Yeah. He makes jokes all the time. Even if you watch the original, he makes dumb jokes.
Like he's just a weirdo.
But yeah, I started getting
driving around in a fucking flower van. He's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Like, oh, they were kind of acting like I was like this. Oh, you be like caring too much about this stuff. Oh, you look too. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Am I never supposed to like? Am I just supposed to always ignore things I don't like? And I don't know, like, what do you want from me?
If you ignore everything that happened in the movie, it's not a bad movie, you know?
Yeah, I'll never forget when that guy said that to us.
Like everything you said is true, but if you just ignore all that shit, it's a good movie.
That was the dumbest. That literally to this day remains the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I was like, yo, that is so fucking. I literally think about that randomly sometimes. Just how stupid of a sentence that was. I'm like, how do you fix your mouth to say something that dumb? I
How
was like,
do
that's
you
crazy.
fix him out to say some shit like that, bro? I
But
don't know. I really
well, like
don't know.
even regards, like I sat there reflecting on this. I was like, why did it bother me that they changed the characters in this way that did not seem to relate to them at all? And because I was like, I'm not a purist. Like as much as people want to act like I am, I'm definitely not a purist because like as I was arguing in that conversation, I was saying if the changes are sensible and improve something or make something work better for modern times, then I get it. But if it's like superfluous or just some random change that, in my opinion, objectively is the source material, that's weird. So like I was thinking in my head, I was like, Mystery Incorporated changed some stuff, but the way they did it was different. Mystery Incorporated took Fred as a character and just exaggerated the traits he already had. Like his very cheery, happy-go-lucky demeanor was like exaggerated to the point of absurdity, so it was a little creepy.
Mm-hmm.
They did that. His fixation on building traps was exaggerated to the point of absurdity, so he seemed like a crazy person.
He was
Like
a
these
crazy
kind of
person.
things.
Mr.
Yeah,
Incorporated Fred is a crazy person. There's no ifs, ands,
and
or
then
buts. Man's is
and then
insane.
and then Daphne. All they did was kind of they didn't even really exaggerate that much. Her pretty girl thing. She's a pretty girl, but she's not an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And she they kind of made it like she comes from a family of beautiful people, beautiful rich people. Um, like they did a much better job of kind of satirizing the material without
Ooh,
completely. It's like I
ooh,
feel like in other
got a shiver.
cases they're calling. It's like they really don't like the material, and that's like I feel like there's a difference between harmful joshing and malicious like this shit sucks, it's dumb and you're dumb for enjoying it, you know.
Yeah. Like, and as a fan of the material, you can usually kind of tell.
Yeah,
Like the reason I didn't like the Transformers movies that much, I was just like, this is wrong. Like it just
yeah,
felt wrong when I was watching it. And like, if I ignore everything, it's not
yeah,
that bad a movie. It's like, yeah, you're going there for the explosions. You're not really going
yeah,
for the
yeah,
real in depth character analysis of
yeah,
the
yeah,
right.
yeah.
But like, it's just like as I'm watching it, as like such a fan of the show, I was like, who the fuck is like who is that? Like I
Who is
saw
that?
my man
Yeah,
Optimus rip people in half. I was like, I've never seen him do that ever in my life. Who's that man on the screen over there?
yeah. Like I said, the only way you can enjoy the first Transformers movie is if you're just like, oh, this is just a summer blockbuster. Part two, though, is objectively a fucking terrible fucking
No,
movie.
bro,
There's
part
no
two
way
is
to enjoy it.
actually bad. Like
Part two,
as a movie, like I literally can't tell what
even
the fuck is going on half the time in
yeah,
part two.
that's my thing with it. I really cannot like that shit. The shaky cam thing,
The
man. This
shaky
shit is so
cam,
dumb.
it's half shot in the desert, and it's like always at these weird angles, so you literally cannot see what the fuck is going on.
And the dumb thing the Transformers movies did that I just
Then
really
they gave Devastator
exposed me.
balls, bro.
Not the thing where they were fighting and then it zooms in on Sam hiding underneath shit. That shit was so dumb. Where he's like hiding under a log. I'm like, this nigga would be dead. He'd be fucking dead. How like it made no sense. Like especially I think this was in part two. Optimus is fighting like three fucking Decepticons at once. This nigga hiding under a. I was like, nah, he would have died. There's literally no way he would have not gotten stepped on. There were different fucking giants, four different fucking giants fighting in this video. He's dead. He's gonna die. Like, how the fuck did he do that? I was like, whatever. That nigga was
I
invincible. I
mean,
think
he
that used
was
to
the
be the
chosen
joke.
one, so
Yeah, that used to be the joke. I think people used
he's
to
Sam
make.
Witwicky, bro.
Yeah. And then the fucking Godzilla movies did the same fucking thing, focusing too much on the humans. Where you see them running around their feet and shit. I was like, can we not? Can we just? Can I see the monsters fight each other? Can we not do this?
Bro, you know
Oh
what's really
no.
funny? In that same vein, when like they focus on the humans, but like in a more satirical sense, where they focus on the human and the human is like describing what's going on. They're like, "Oh my god, XYZ just did ABC. Oh my god, you guys should
Oh,
be
yeah.
seeing this shit.
Like
Oh
Dragon
my
Ball
god."
Z. Like Dragon Ball Z.
I mean, kinda, not really. I just mean like, but they do that a lot in Dragon Ball Z where they will describe a lot of things, but it's more like something will happen and then they're like, "Oh, it was too fast for you to see, so let me explain it to you." Well, I'm talking about where it's like instead of filming the action because maybe it's out of budget or whatever, they will just have someone tell you about the action and be like, Godzilla and fucking who else is there? I forgot the other names of the. But,
or like Ghidorah or whatever.
yeah, like Godzilla and Ghidorah. Like Godzilla picked up Ghidorah and he did a dive bomb and then he just spit fire in his face and it was like, oh my god, you guys should be watching this action. You shouldn't be looking at me. You should be seeing that. But you're here looking at me. It's weird, guys. You guys are missing out. Like I love when they do shit like that because it's just kind of funny.
It's funny, yeah. I mean, like the writing in Hunter x Hunter would do that when two characters are fighting, but like they would do it to explain to you why someone did something. So it'd be very often like giving you context to the fight, like how the person's powers work, that kind of thing, or like the other character figuring out how their powers work.
Oh my god! Don't get me started on how many times I heard bungee gum. It has the properties of both rubber and gum. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Ahsoka. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he was really proud of that shit. Well, like one day I want a character to start trying to explain his attack, and he's so proud of it. And the other character starts beating the shit out of him before he can finish. Like he's
that kind of happens in Mashal.
Oh, good.
It's a manga. It's very similar to One Punch Man, where like regular anime tropes are happening, and this guy's like, "Shut the fuck up! I don't want to do that."
Yeah, it's like the villain, long-haired villain, like the way my special attack works is, and he just gets
literally main villain is out here monologuing. My boy, he pulls up behind him, and then the villain's like, "What the fuck?" And he just straight hands. He's like, "I don't got time for that."
I remember one of the closest things I've gotten to that in Western media was fucking when this happened in fucking Winter Soldier. The other guy, the guy who becomes Crossbones, Brock Rumlow, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He fucking gets up, about to give this speech. He's like, blah, 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 pain. I will show you the meaning of pain. And then fucking Samuels was like, man, shut the hell up. It kills me every time.
That's such a goofy thing. Where it was like, especially it's like, those one-liners work because we are reading it and we're like, oh, this is a comic book. They do one-liners. But like, as a person in the comic or in the world, you're just like, what the fuck is wrong with, like, why are you spewing these one-liners, bro?
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh my god. One more thing before I actually move on to the topic. Now you remind me of when remember Turtles Forever?
Turtles Forever.
The 1980s. Yeah, the 1980s Turtles. And every time they would do their little one-liner and look to the camera. Like, I remember the last time he did it, fucking what's his name again? Shit, what's his name? The Purple Dragon leader? What the fuck was his name again? The big guy. Remember he was fucking big as fuck?
Nah, I'm not remembering.
Damn, forgot his fucking name. But this motherfucker, he had been mutated, and he just got tired of it. He turned, he looked at the guy, he looked back, he's like, who are you talking to? There's nobody there. It's like, who are you talking to? I don't understand. Like the whole like it was a running gag, and at one point he just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, are these guys schizophrenic? Like, I don't understand. But anyways, speaking of animated properties and making fun of tropes, actually, because this did kind of make fun of tropes a little bit. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Yes. We saw that the other night. That was last weekend, right?
Yeah, Saturday.
Pretty good movie. Not gonna lie, pretty good movie.
Yeah. I'm glad I made it. You said that shit all the fucking time, bro.
Yeah, I'm happy I made it.
But it was actually a pretty good movie. I was fairly surprised actually about like how much I enjoyed the movie because like I didn't think it was gonna be a bad movie of any kind, right? But I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. Especially like the character that they had was Death. Like generally they were like, this is it. This is Death. He's not some goofy caricature of Death. No,
you gotta say it the way he said it. You gotta say it the way he said it.
I don't even remember the exact same lines
he said, I don't mean that in any metaphorical, hypothetical. What was the other word he used?
See, that's what I was like. I don't remember. He said, hold on, let me look it up.
Or any other kind of deep, I think he said deep kind of way. I'm Death. straight up. That's the word that killed me. He said straight up. He's like, nigga turned to 21 Savage. He was like, straight up. I'm death. Straight up. Straight up. Man. But yeah, death was pretty fucking cool.
I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or any other fancy
Yeah.
way. I am
That's
death.
cool.
Straight up.
Straight up, yeah. That was a good line. That was a very good line. That worked.
Yeah, because like you could have interpreted it as like, oh, he wasn't actually death. You know, he's just like a really good Batman. And he's like, no, fuck all that noise, bro. I'm death. I am the Grim Reaper. Like, I am that guy.
It was also funny because it's kind of satirical, where it's like, obviously in the film, he represents Puss's very real fear of death, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then literally in the end of the movie, he's just like, or not near the end of the movie, he's like, yeah, it's not just metaphorical. He's like, I'm literally dead. Like, I know thematically I'm death, but I'm also actually death. Like that was a good example of meta humor that isn't like obnoxious. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like a joke being meta without being in your face. Like, this is real. You know?
What is that?
Like,
Oh my god!
yeah, so look at Deadpool. Look how fucking goofily written that character is in these comic books.
Yeah, sometimes Deadpool is just all right. I'll say most times Deadpool's too much.
Most times,
Most
90% of the
times.
time.
Because like there will be times where I'll watch it like or I'll read a comic and I'm like, yeah, that was pretty funny, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty funny. But then it's like 80% of the time, I'm like, all right, I get it. Please relax.
You're a comic book character.
Like really, it starts taking away from the story because I'm like, especially when he starts doing some real meta shit. Like I remember in the Deadpool game, he literally started walking on his thought bubbles. I was like, if you can do shit like this, you are God. Like you're not just like, oh, I can see into the fourth wall. I was like, no. You are basically like, you remember Mask? Like you're basically that. You're that guy. Like you're just Mask. Like you can just warp reality at this point. What the fuck?
Yeah. But I mean, comics is chock full of terrible characters like that. Like I just saw this fun video. It had me dead. No, I think I remember the thing that had me and Ray dying. When we talk about that shit again in the car, how fucking stupid that shit was. Remember the thing with the Hulk? Talk about how he has stealth ability and
He's super
he
stealth.
he's so stealthy. He goes to the forest and he doesn't leave any trace. And I was like, this is dope.
That don't even make no sense.
Man's is the size of a house. I was like, how is he not leaving any trace? It was like, that makes no sense.
There was literally a show about that where they were like, hey, like they literally got a tracker and they got some guys. You're like, all right, like if you can get away from this tracker, you win like a bunch of money. And these people tried hard. They were like, all right, we're gonna like make a bunch of tracks to confuse him. He was like, they made a bunch of tracks to confuse me. Like immediately he just looked at it. He was like, this is what they were trying to do. It's like, this man was on their ass, bro. And they were like, oh, we're going to go through the river to make him, because he had like these tracking dogs. He's like, the tracking dogs going to lose their scent. He's like, they went in the river to make my dogs lose their scent. Walked like a few, like, I don't know, it was like a mile up. He was like, dogs picked up the scent again. He was like, yeah, like, I know where they went. I was just like, I don't think he lost, bro. I don't think he lost.
That's how I replied to this, because it was a short. I commented, I was like, you niggas are acting like there isn't a whole occupation called tracker. That's what I said. I was like, it's literally an occupation. There are men who train their whole lives to be able to track someone, a fucking, I don't even know how to say, like not even half of the Hulk size. But nope, not the Hulk. Apparently he's just so fucking sneaky. Like, how the fuck is that even possible? Whatever. You know?
Like,
but,
I could have accepted many things, but that was just one of them. It's like, oh, come on.
That was too dumb.
My suspension of disbelief is only so great, you know?
And it's unnecessary is the thing. It did not need to, because they were like, oh, the reason he's able to evade capture. I was like, he's able to evade capture because he can transform from the Hulk into a normal guy. I was like, that's all you need to say.
Yeah, TBH. Also, it's like, he can jump across state lines.
He can literally go wherever the fuck he wants. He can be in Arizona, jump a little bit. Now he's in fucking Connecticut. Like,
yeah, he could just leave.
Exactly. He can just disappear and then turn back into his normal self. They're looking for Bruce Banner in fucking Arizona, but no, Bruce is in New York already. It's like, but there's this short, and I was talking about this character. Forgot the character's name, and also how the character could just do all this stuff. He could invade the spaces of cosmic entities. He could control their mind. He was like invulnerable. He could do this, and that. And I was thinking this in my head. I went into the comments to say it, and someone already beat me to it. They're like, "Oh, he can do whatever he wants." Okay, I died. I died. I was like, "Yes, this is a terrible character." I was like,
Oh no, no,
"Why
no,
would I
no! It's
want
a
to read
great
something?"
character, unless his name is Superman. Then he's boring
Oh
and
yeah,
lame.
yeah, he's terrible. He's boring and lame. Yeah, because that shit has annoyed me for so long. All those complaints about Superman, and I see all these dumbass videos beyond Omega level, and it'll be like how Iceman can do whatever he wants. He can just do anything. He can freeze the molecules and separate them and make a portal. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, why can he do that? I was like, that's dumb. Why would he be able to do that? Like,
We strayed away from
why-
the Puss in Boots review.
yeah, sorry. Just ranting real quick. Well, I mean, actually, we can go right back to Puss in Boots. We saw an example of a character who had literally an unlimited supply of power, and they still managed to make him interesting and limit him. Still, because he one of the way they limit is he literally didn't know what he was pulling out, so you'd have to
yes,
figure out
true,
what it was
true.
as he pulled it out. Yeah,
The Big Jack Horner.
Big
He
Jack
really
Horner.
did just have like access to like name it in a fairy tale. He had it. Whatever magic power, the cookies in Alice in Wonderland, unicorn horns, literally name it. Like Cinderella's glass slipper, he had it. It had any bit of ounce of magic in there, he had it.
All right,
But
so I guess I'll ask you guys specifically. I'll start with no, actually not Ray because he already saw it before all of us, and I think he likes it the most out of all of us. Although I also really enjoyed it. I'll start with EJ. EJ, what were your favorite things about the Puss in Boots movie? Like, what do you think things they did very well in that movie?
Um, I like the humor throughout. It was pretty consistent. I think the humor didn't really it went with what I expected to be from Puss in Boots movie. Um, it wasn't like it was family friendly, but it fit. As far as the characters, I liked all the characters.
even the
I
dog.
like the journey, the dog. I like the his love interest. I like the three bears and Goldilocks. I thought that they were all a good compliment to him. Which kept it interesting because I'm not really familiar with Puss in Boots or like his world. I've only seen him in Shrek, so I was
There's
wondering
not much extra to see,
aside,
really.
yeah, I was wondering aside from him what I was gonna see from that movie. And even like the inclusion of death as a physical character, but also being literally deaf. Um, I did like those other surrounding parts, and the story, the story was cool as well. Seeing him go on this journey and uh having to confront death a couple times, and this like manhunt that they had for him. So yeah,
Um, I would say I did like the tone of the movie. Um, I thought it was going to be very childlike at first, but
yeah,
then
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah,
They definitely
yeah, they
tricked you
went
with
a
that
little,
opening, right?
yeah, they shifted it a little bit. There were still
yeah,
some moments I thought it was, but I had to keep reminding myself this is a family friendly movie, so those moments are going to be
yeah.
in there, right? So I was like, it's not going to be completely appealing to me as an adult because I'm an adult. Just there's going to be things that I think are silly, and but it's meant for the 10-year-old in the audience, so they can get that little little jokey, that little childlike reference. But yeah, the tone was very good in that it managed to be adult without being overtly offensive or gross or anything like that. Um, the cursing was unexpected. I did expect fucking the bleeped out cursing to appear in the movie. That just came out of nowhere. That was weird. But it was kind of funny because I was like, they're really pushing the limits. Um, there were some moments I thought in the movie where the animation was a little choppy, but
It was
whatever.
just
At least
in the beginning when he was fighting the giant, right?
yeah, it happened again too later. It happened again later, but it wasn't enough that I would notice it. And I understand they're trying to experiment with that sort of like the thing that Spider Verse did, where it's like almost 2D but 3D at the same time. Because like I remember even EJ, they didn't even realize the movie was 3D. Oh no, he did. He did. Sorry, I'm thinking about something else.
What movie?
You were asking if it was literally 3D, like IMAX coming out of the screen at you 3D.
Yeah.
But
Wait, Puss in Boots?
Yeah.
yeah,
I did ask that.
You did.
you asked that question. But yeah, it's like they were doing a kind of like blend of 2D and 3D animation style. So you got to kind of just accept the limitations a little bit and accept that some things are going to appear wonky because they're doing something new, right? If you want
Are
new,
you-
you have to go
Are you
for it.
sure? Are you sure it was the animation being choppy or the whiskey chopping your vision?
Well, it might
Nah.
have been the whiskey making me notice it more.
Or maybe it was because the method we were watching it. Because when I was watching it in theaters, I don't remember it being that choppy. So maybe that was the reason. I'd have to like go
maybe it was, yeah,
try
maybe
again.
it was the resolution. Yeah, it was probably maybe it was the resolution or something.
Or the
Like,
whiskey. I blame it on the whiskey.
Yeah.
But
Could have been a combination of both. Could have been the fact that I was drunk, so I was noticing it a little more. Because I remember when we saw Infinity War drunk, and that movie literally, I'm telling
it
you, the
was
movie
so
felt like it
goofy,
was a
bro.
fast forward. Yeah,
It
it
was
felt
like
like it
that.
was a fast
It
forward.
was a 3-hour movie. We were like, it's over.
Yeah, everything felt like it was happening so fast.
But if
what I
you
was gonna
looked
say,
at Death in the movie, like you could see that him and Puss, they like looked a little different. Like Death looked a lot kind of like smoother than Puss in Boots did. Like Puss in Boots, like you could see like they really tried to like show all the fur on him, but Death was like very smooth. Like even when you looked him straight forward, like you couldn't tell like how long his nose was. It was interesting. It made him feel like he did not belong. Like he was otherworldly. Especially like a lot of the times you see Death in passing, like he did not seem like he was part of the scenery. He's like he was not supposed to be there. Like he really stood out very like sharply.
his recurring call sign, his whistle was
Yeah.
pretty cool,
Yeah, I fuck
and
with
his
Whistle.
weapons were dope as well. His weapons were pretty awesome.
I didn't know the movie came out last year.
No, it didn't.
It came out last year, right? 2022.
I mean,
2022,
technically, right?
probably like a couple
Yeah.
of months ago.
I
for us.
thought it
Well,
came
I
out
mean,
years ago.
Oh no! Oh yeah! No! Yeah, it's a recent movie. Came out like December.
But
Oh, okay. Also, yeah,
what I was gonna
recent.
say though
December
is that
21st.
another
Yeah.
thing. The fight scenes in the movie were pretty dope. There were some I thought where the fight scenes they were overdoing it a little bit, but for the most part, the fight scenes were cool. I did also enjoy the Three Bears. It
I
was
know
a
you
very
got
nice.
annoyed at the just right joke. They did it 3 times exactly though.
Yeah, the just right joke did not need to happen as much as it did.
It only
The
happened
one
3
time was
times.
enough. One
Like
time was enough.
I like how the Bears. I like how the Bears was. I forgot. I think it was two of them. They were clowning each other.
It was the dad and the
Like,
son.
yeah, the dad and the son. Yeah,
What
that
did the
was
son say?
funny.
He was like,
He's like,
"I'm
I'm smart, right, Papa? He's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
No, it was not just the way. What did he didn't say? Like he was like, "No, you're not." Like he was like, "Come on, we know this already. We know you fucking retarded."
He's like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
you know you're stupid. Come on.
Like, come on, don't ask me that. But yeah, I always be having the girls in my job dying with that shit. Whenever I'm telling them a story, I'm like, yeah, you look at them and you're just like we both know what's going on. Let's not play these games. They always die when I say that phrase. Like we both know what's up. Let's not play these games. I don't know why they find that so funny.
Yeah, I hit
I
them
think
with
it's because when I
the
say that,
if that makes you feel better, like that's what I say. It's like if that makes you feel better.
I think it's because the dead ass serious look I'll have on my face, where I'm like, it's like, yo, like we both know what's going on. Let's not do this. Let's not play these games. That's what I always say. It's like, no, let's not. Like we know what's up. Because that's one of the most annoying things on the planet to me. When people want to beat around the bush and play games, I don't like that shit. It's like, let's just be honest. Let's be big. Let's be big people. Let's be adults. But what about you, Ray? Actually, you know what, Ray? Name some things you didn't like about the movie. I want to see.
The beginning was him fighting the giant was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie.
It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like him fighting the giant was a little weird. Like it did set the tone that like the reason this is only even happening is because like he really is out here like disrespecting Death, and he's like, I don't get like who cares, bro, right? Like he set that up, but it was just so different from the rest of the movie.
Well, I I don't think it was. I think it was weird in that moment. Like it just happened out of nowhere.
Yeah,
And it was
but that's what I'm saying. It's just so different from the rest of the movie. It was like,
yeah. Maybe it
cause
was
like even in
supposed
the
to be.
beginning where he's like in the castle and he's fighting those guards, like perfectly normal. As soon as the giant comes in, you're like, yo, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, it just completely changed, and then he turned to a superhuman. Like you,
Yeah, like he was that guy. Like he fought a giant. I mean, and like at least they like made a callback to it at the end of the movie, right? And
oh, the giant comes back. Yeah, another giant.
yeah, so I was like, all right, I can see the tie in there, but like yeah, the giant at the beginning that was a little off. Perito, a little too much, sugar on that dog, bro. He's a little too
Yeah,
sweet. I was like, I get the idea of him, but I was just like, god damn.
dog was doing too much. Dog was
I was
definitely
like,
doing too much.
god damn.
That's probably my only gripe for the movie.
And they ain't gotta
Yeah,
make him so ugly. They ain't
he was
gotta do
supposed to
that.
be.
I
That
know,
was
but
the
like
whole.
God, like they made him real ugly. Um,
Some girl was telling me that was her favorite character in the movie. And I was like, of course. I was like, of
she
course
should
it
go
is.
see therapy. She could go see therapy. Cause
Like my son Donkey from Shrek was annoying, but you know he was like very likable though,
And
even
he
though
was
he was annoying.
supposed to be annoying. That was the whole point of his
And
character.
very annoying but likable, you know.
um
And I'm probably biased because it was Eddie Murphy voicing him, and Eddie Murphy always cracks me up. So
The Murphy cracked everything.
here's another thing. The whole like Goldie wanting like real parents, I thought that was out of nowhere. Like it makes sense when you like watching the movie, but I was just like,
No, I don't think it made sense actually. It just seemed really random.
it's like
There was no development of that.
yeah,
It just
like
happened.
it's just like it's out of nowhere. And when I say it makes sense, it's like all right, I can see the
Why
reason.
someone
Yeah, like I could see a reason for like her goals or whatever. But like she looked like she really enjoyed being with the Bears. And like if it was like a wish for her to know her original family, but like she was just like, yeah, I'm just out, like
I
goodbye,
want a
like that.
real family. I
Yeah, it
was
was
like,
like,
okay.
yeah, he's like, we're not a family. I was like, yo, that shit hurt me. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
mm,
But I think that's what made it work is that it was turned into this hurtful moment.
Yeah,
Because like even her when her mom was like, "Oh, I want what's best for you," and they did
he's like, we're
her
gonna keep
parents.
going. Like
Her,
we're gonna keep doing this for you.
all right, that was sad. That was some sad shit.
Yeah, but I'm glad she helped out. She didn't turn on him or nothing. But
Another really good element in the movie, is the map. I thought the map was a very interesting
the map was cool.
dynamic that they added in there. I was like, this is kind of cool. Like, they didn't even have to add that either. They just chose to. Very cool little element of the story.
But
Reminds me of
now I'm
Jumanji.
wondering, like, how does the Dark Forest exist now without the map? You know, like, is it whoever walks in first changes the environment and then it just stays that way?
Maybe it just doesn't change anymore.
Maybe I don't know. Which
But yeah.
means if because I think it ended with no, it ended with Puss, right? So it's just a horrible place you never want to be.
Oh, speaking of the end, Puss, I liked him defeating death, the way he defeated death. Because I
Oh, he
remember you
didn't
guys
defeat
saw
him.
how I was. Yeah, you guys saw how I was getting annoyed. I was like, I hope he shouldn't be able to just beat him now. I was like, I felt like it was clearly established. The distance between them in skill
It
was
was
like,
great. It was
yeah, like.
high.
But the reason why I liked it is because it was his lack of fear that motivated Death to leave him alone. It's like it kind of fit thematically. Like if you're always worried about death, then death will always be your enemy. But if you learn to fully embrace life and enjoy it, then death is no longer an enemy. It's just something that is on the horizon that you'll bump into again. Just as he literally told him, in time you'll meet death again, but you don't have to worry about it right now. You know,
It was also
I thought
like
that was great.
it's not that
You know,
he had a lack of fear. It was just like he had like a certain level of respect, right? He was
yeah.
like he was afraid of death, but in the moment he was like, this is something I have to do. Like I have to I have to look death in the face right now,
He
right?
was like, "You will beat me, but I won't make it easy." You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. He was like, he literally said it. It's like I cannot defeat you, like, but I will fight for this life. And And like Death literally says why he leaves. He's like, "Well, I was only cheating because you were kind of disrespecting me, but I see we good now."
Mm, yeah. It's like, yeah, he was talking about his arrogance. You know, if you're arrogant in the face of death, you will die. Like if you're out here doing stupid shit, testing faith, like that's it. Like look at all those kids who used to do the free running things,
Mm-hmm.
and look how many of those motherfuckers ended up dying doing goofy shit,
Yeah,
trying to
and
jump. Yeah, go for it.
it's just like saying a good part of the movie was like he only showed up anytime Puss stepped out of line, or whenever something a little too exciting happened. That's when Death was like, "Come on, bro! Like you shouldn't be doing this shit." Like,
Yeah, yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So I have one more question. Who are your favorite characters in the movie? List your favorite character. And when I say character, I was talking to both of you guys. Who was your favorite
um,
character, Ray?
I really liked Goldie and Baby. Like they were fun characters.
Good dynamic.
Yeah, like they literally like bickered like siblings. Like like they were mad at each other sometimes, but like they didn't mean it.
Yeah, yeah, that was nice. That was a nice touch. And their sibling rivalry came off as a real sibling rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel like very few people know how to pull off rivalry in a way in which it feels genuine and like something that two friends would do. Like you look at the Lethal Weapon movies, right? When Riggs is bothering what do you call it, Murtaugh or whatever, Murtaugh. When he's bothering Murtaugh, it really feels like he's teasing him in the way two friends will actually tease each other. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like I could see me and Ray. I could see me doing this stuff
Mm-hmm.
to Ray, like annoying him on purpose, right? And like I think that's what really sells those movies: the fact that their friendship feels real, at least when you're watching the movie.
It's a brotherhood. Yeah.
Exactly. But then you watch something like The Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's just like this random childish, bickering back and forth. And I was like, this isn't even believable that two adult men would argue like this. I was like, this is just kind
Yeah,
of
no,
weird.
it's like it'd be so funny if they were constantly mad at each other, but they're friends. Like, but you gotta do it right. Like,
Yeah, you got to do it right. Like even Batman and Superman, it works because like the way the dynamic they have when they're in their friendship, it's usually Batman being ultra serious, trying not to show his softer side, and Superman's like, I know you love me, Bruce. Like I know you love me. And he doesn't
some
like,
goofy shit.
yeah, but yeah, their rivalry came off as very genuine. There was something else I was gonna
And like the
say.
parents didn't react to it until maybe if it got a little too far. Like when
Yeah,
she was like, "She's not even my sister." The mom was like, "Hey, that's too much,"
like, tell it out. What about you, EJ? Who's your favorite character in the movie?
Um, Definitely Death is probably number one.
Yes.
And I have to say all three of the Bears. Every time they came on screen, it was just
The
I
piano
was
scene was
waiting for
great, right?
yeah, I
Very
was waiting
fun.
for what they was gonna say.
They kind of stole the movie, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like the
I
movie
and
was
feel
and
like they
good,
I
could
but
have
then
just been like the antagonists. They might not even needed Jack Horner.
that's what I was saying. I was like, I don't think Jack Horner was necessary.
But
I
like
was like,
I think it was because of the ending they had in mind. Like they needed an actual person because it wouldn't have felt satisfying
but
otherwise.
speaking of
yeah.
Jack Horner, I don't want to say he's my favorite character, but
Oh, I
I
liked
just
him.
like
I liked the
ugly and
idea
big
of
he was.
him.
I liked how ugly and big he was. I think
Yo, bro, his wanted poster was gross.
he was just such a disgusting
Oh,
looking
his
guy.
wanted poster was stupid. Oh, I
He
fucking
Like
looked
I
like
hated
don't
him.
think
Humpty
I've
Dumpty.
seen. I don't think
He
I've
did
seen a
remind me a
villain.
lot of Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a villain so revolting in years. Like I just the big ass swollen thumb. Ugh, he was
Bro,
a very
he was a very lumpy, lopsided kind of character.
yeah,
Which
like
um
everything about that character was so perfectly designed to be
and he was so
fucking. And I know they
unhinged.
did
He was
it
very
on purpose.
unhinged.
Yeah, to be disgusting, to make you like want to gag. The fact his hands being so much bigger and out of sync with the rest of his body,
His
his
head
big
was
ass body to
tiny.
begin with.
His head was
Yeah,
tiny. His legs were
his
skinny.
tiny head, the fucking big ass cheeks, the way he talked was fucking annoying.
Yeah.
John Mulaney just has an annoying voice, but it was perfect for the character and how annoying it was.
Well, John
And then
Mulaney was also the pig in Spider-Man, right?
he was that was him.
I think
Oh
so.
yeah, he was. It
I
was him.
don't think I hated him as that. I think he was fine.
Yeah, no,
But I think it's
the,
because it's a pig. Like it was such
yeah,
a cartoonish pig that it just worked. But
the fucking goofy hair he had, everything just really sold that character as someone I did not want to see. but then you can't look away at the same time. It's like a fucking train wreck. Great character design there. Like if you put his silhouette on something, I'd probably be able to recognize it immediately. Oh, that's Jack
that's that big
Horner
Jack
from
Horner guy. But
yeah.
it was actually a post I saw where people were mad at the design of Goldie. They were look how like conventionally attractive she is. Like they used to have like weirder like designs. And I was like, are you just gonna ignore every other character in the movie, bro? Like,
And first of all, come on, man. These movies. This is not Shrek. It's not Shrek. It's Puss in Boots. Okay.
nah, but even
Like
then, it's like, did you like you have to ignore every other character in the movie? Because even like the other two girls that were in the movie, the twins, they weren't like they had like weird proportions and stuff. So like,
not
if you
weird
really want to
proportions,
like,
stupid faces.
they also had like really long arms.
Yeah.
And like they were like hunched over. So it's like you're gonna like just be mad that she was like kind of conventionally attractive, and then just
I
forget that
think
all the other humans like looked
I
Shrek
won't say
like.
Death.
It's kind of weird.
I won't say my favorite character was Death because that was already said. I don't want to. But if I had to give another character some love, I liked Papa Bear a lot. He had a lot of funny lines. I don't know, just the way he talked in general. I don't know. It was just
Yeah,
The
he
voice
did
actor,
it. He
pretty
was
fun voice
a good voice actor.
Yeah.
yeah. The voice actors did a good job, and he had one of the funniest scenes in the movie when he sat back in the couch and he was talking, and he's like, host.
He's like, just a quick nap. Just some real father shit right there.
Hilarious.
He's like, bro, I'm not
Well,
sleeping, bro. I'm just resting my eyes.
I did like the mom too. I like the mom too because it was like that perfect awkward British people humor where she's like one of those happy-go-lucky types who like no matter what the situation, she has like a positive outlook on it. Like one of those kind of annoying people. You're like, no, just please,
He's like,
it's
nah, this
okay.
is a bad situation.
Um,
Nah, the Bears were good.
Like that meme with the dog in the burning house, and he's holding the cup.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's alright.
This is
Everything be
fine.
fine.
It's okay. But before we move on, I guess, um, one of the things I found so funny about this movie, and I think I remember saying this to Ray as we were watching it, is it one of my favorite comics of all time is Fables, and then Jack of Fables as well. Jack of Fables might be my favorite comic like ever, but Fables is also really good. And Fables, similar to Shrek and Puss in Boots, they live in like a fairy tale world. Well, they don't live in a fairy tale world. It's fairy tales have migrated into the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like fable characters. And like it's funny because Goldilocks in that universe is a villain, except she has no redeemable traits. She's like an homicidal maniac who like, yeah, she's a fucking psychopath, right? And then also Jack in their universe is also a villain, but like the way they use characters in the Fables universe, is there a representative of like every version of that character? So like the evil witch is the evil witch in every story ever. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
she's all the evil witches,
I
right?
actually used to think that the Evil Witch and like Sleeping Beauty and I thought they were the same fucking person. Like the Evil
Yeah,
Witch and Maleficent, I thought they were the same person.
yeah, that's how they work. So like in like well, it doesn't work like that for all the characters, but for a lot of the characters, that's what they use. Or they'll be like what they'll do is they'll fold multiple legends into one another, and like it will be like um trying to think of an example. Nah, whatever. It's not necessary to think of an example. The Jack in their universe is the Jack in like every single nursery rhyme or tall tale fable you can imagine. So he is Jack Horner in that universe as well. Like he's every Jack,
Mm-hmm.
and he is just as irredeemable as the villain of Jack in what do you call it, Puss in Boots, except he's more of a trickery kind of guy. He likes tricking people and like that kind of stuff. um just like the Jack Horner in Puss in Boots, he does come to face the consequences for all his terrible actions over the course of the movie. As a matter of fact, his
What did
own
I do
fucking
to
son.
deserve this?
Yeah.
I mean, specifically.
Yeah, I mean specifically, that was funny. Like he get like I think he gets fucking slayed by his own son in the fucking comic book. A son that he abandoned. It comes back full circle and like the nigga kills him. But yeah, I always loved that in his comic. I always thought that was a perfect end to it. Where you see the whole comic he spends it being an irredeemable asshole, and then he actually faces the consequences of his actions. There's no redemption arc, nothing. It's just, yep, Jack was an asshole the whole time. Well, this is how he died. So this is how he was punished. Like he did get his just desserts. He definitely did.
You know, speaking of redemption arcs, I feel
Yeah.
like I just kind of want to get this on my chest. I feel like not everyone needs to be redeemed, really, right?
I
Like,
agree with that.
because like specifically, if you if you're a fan of like Avatar: The Last Airbender, people are really upset Azula never got her redemption arc. And if you read
Azula
the
was expecting
comic,
that.
if you read the comic, she kind of gets one where she's like not as bad, and I'm like, brother in Christ, she is bad. Like she's just bad.
Yeah,
Like she's just a
she's
bad person,
crazy, literally insane. Yeah.
bro. Like if you go on Tumblr, like people are like explaining away her issues. It's like, oh well, you see, it's because Zuko's mom, like their mom, was really nice to Zuko. They left no room for her to be nice to Azula, and that's why she is the way she is. I was like, what? Are you dead
Yeah,
ass?
there's a show I was watching, Mr. Robot, and it just really made me. They love writing these broken characters that I guess you're supposed to feel sympathy for because they're broken. I was like, nah, that character's just a bitch. I was like, nah, they just suck. They suck as a person. It's like,
Trying to find a
sure,
clever way to sympathize for a piece of shit.
Yeah, no,
yeah, it's
it's
like
just they're doing so much, and
yeah,
it's
it's like I
like,
understand. Yeah, it's like I understand that their life was shitty, but they also are just
Terrible
an
people.
annoying person. Yeah, like that's something I hate that they do a lot in comic books. This obsession with redeeming villains. Like
bro,
fucking
does DC even have any villains anymore?
to be honest, yeah, DC is a great example. Fucking Deathstroke gets redeemed. Fucking and well, Deathstroke, Deathstroke is not a villain. He's a fucking anti-hero. I don't believe what anyone says. They will lie to you, but he's an anti-hero. But Black Adam, I think, is one of the worst examples ever. The man, like I told you guys, was a genocidal maniac, and this man, how evil this man was. He got locked away for thousands of years and came back being evil again. Like he didn't reflect on his actions. He didn't go, you know what?
All that
No, he
time.
came back. It was like
All
time
that
to
time.
function up. Yeah, he came back. He was like, yeah, well, you know. So where did I last leave off? He was like, oh, I was trying to murder those orphans. Let me go do that shit again. And I was like, it's so weird. It's like, why is he now this good guy? I was like, that makes no sense. But whatever, they love doing that shit. Redeeming villains. Like even Malcolm Merlin, they kind of kept him, they tricked you into thinking he was being redeemed, and he was like, nope. like, like they do that shit sometimes. But I remember, have you seen Heroes, right, EJ?
Yeah.
Remember when Sylar had that thing where they were kind of trying to redeem him, and it ended up not working?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was kind of annoying too. Like they didn't know what to fucking do with Sylar
Yeah.
after a while. They had no idea what to do. They should have just rid him off. Like it was okay. They should just let him die and then use the new villain.
I think he had a fucked up upbringing or something. He
He
had
did. He
he
did.
had been went through some traumas.
Yeah.
It's
And then like what were you gonna say, Ray?
it's the idea of like not everyone needing to be redeemed is kind of why I find some issue with like what's it called, No Way Home. Not No Way Home. What's it called? Is it No Way Home? That's the third
The third
Spider-Man
one?
movie. The third
Yeah,
one.
no way.
Like, cause I was just like, nah, them's evils. Them's evils
Well,
people.
it's not
Just leave them. They're done.
the
It's
reason
okay.
why I accepted it is I didn't think they were redeemable. I just did think this is a thing that a young, naive Peter probably would be like. He's like, oh, I don't think they should die. Like that does sound like a young, naive Peter. That sounds like Superman 2, to be honest.
Yeah, but
Superman
like
went
the
lost
idea
him.
that they don't deserve to die is fine and all, but like these were people ripped from the timeline. It's like you when you send them back, they're going back. They're already dead. So, but you know, Marvel plays loose and fast with their rules, so who knows what would have happened, right?
Well, that's why he didn't want to send them back because they were gonna die. So he was like, yo, we gotta keep them here so they don't die. And like he wasn't thinking it through, because he just really didn't want people to die. And, that's all right. I can understand that.
Yeah.
It's like how even L, like I remember we were talking about L that night, and I was saying to I forgot what we said to Emilio, and Emilio was like, "Oh, you don't think he would have like?" I was like, "No." I was like, "No." Literally, L's entire thing in all of Death Note was that he did not want people to die. Like he really did not want people to die. Like the reason he even introduced himself to Light rather than some random person was to avoid like unnecessary deaths, like of people who didn't deserve it.
Yeah,
You know?
like he could have totally had a scapegoat the entire time, like a
Yeah,
puppet that he was controlling just to like another layer of security. But
yeah,
he didn't want that
yeah.
because
He'd
like
rather
that
put some
person would have died. That person would have slipped up, given his name, and died.
exactly. So he'd rather do it himself. Um, well, yeah, you're definitely right about redeemable villains being redeemed. Like they do it too often. Like
People aren't allowed to be villains anymore, and it's not even like I was like. Nah, I do think there are just bad people. There are just bad people. We gotta stop
yeah,
this
there are.
idea that like everyone is good. Like, no, there are just
No.
bad people.
I like when they when with villains. I've seen in some anime where they don't necessarily give them a redeemable arc, but towards the closing of that arc that they're in, and they're defeated by whoever the main character is, they give like a little side story where it doesn't encompass
Yeah,
the whole arc, but it gives more
you
background
learn
into the
about them.
villain and
Yeah,
to what motivated their actions, and then you're left to, think as the viewer, is this something that you agree with, or is this something that gives further explanation as to why they did what they did, whether or not you found it to be sensible. So I remember like in Yu Yu Hakusho, they did that with Taguro, one of the main villains in the show, where like after he got defeated, we found out more about him, and then he goes into the afterlife and stuff. So, but you don't get like a whole arc designated to like, okay, him growing up and stuff like that, and seeing, you just get that little piece or that layer to him. It was like it was more than just his evil actions, but you still know that whatever background or redeemable traits he might have had, it doesn't outweigh all the damage that he caused.
yeah.
So
I do like when villains work with the hero, and it's like the hero doesn't trust them, and it's like it's like they're forced to work together. I like those kind of stories. Like I remember
yeah,
Hisoka had to work with them, had to work
or if
with
they have a
On Greed
common enemy
Island,
type shit.
yeah, that kind of stuff. I do like those briefly. Those are very interesting.
Yeah,
I
Hisoka's not
remember
a villain.
you, huh?
Hisoka's not a villain.
And that nigga's
He's
just
just
that
he's
nigga,
just not a
he
good
just like
person.
kids.
He's
He
just
just
a
that
like
nigga,
bad
kids.
person. He's not a
nigga's a
villain.
Cray-
He's just not a good person.
that
Crayon
nigga's a
children.
villain. He's a
Crayon
menace.
children.
He is a
He's a
menace,
menace.
but he's not a villain.
He's a menace. Yeah, man is not a normal person. Like, he just
I'm not saying he is a normal person, but the word
Yeah.
villain does not describe him. There is no plots to do nothing.
he's worse than the villain. He's worse than the villain. He just walks around being villainous for no
Yeah, no,
reason.
honestly, he's worse.
Yeah.
I can at least predict what this villain's gonna do. I don't know what that man Hisoka's gonna do, bro. I don't know.
I can tell you what he's gonna do. He's gonna end up on Chris Hansen. That's what he's getting.
Man, you think Chris
I
Hansen
remember
could do
Layla
nothing
said
about no Hisoka, bro?
Hisoka was 100% a fucking honest to God pedo. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That man was a pedo. I do not give a fuck what anyone says. But I remember one of my favorite things of that anime.
You
What's that shit
didn't mean
called
it
again?
metaphorically or rhetorically
No,
or
or rhetorically, or any other kind of what do you say again?
not
Any other
metaphorically, rhetorically, poetically, or theoretically. He was a pedo, straight
she
up.
was straight up. Like I remember they did that in what was that shit called? The one that we watched, the fighting anime that was actually decent, and it was like 3D 2D combination. What's it
Kengan,
called again?
Kengan Ashura.
Kengan Ashura, right? I remember the guy with Kengan Ashura was like gay, and now he was honestly gay. He was like there was like he was saying sus things about the main character, but it wasn't like sus in the way like no Orochimaru kind of. No, he was honest to God in love with the protagonist. Like he was a literal gay guy. Like I just thought that was interesting. I thought that was really cool that he did that. I don't know why. Like I like that he's just actually gay. Like he's not. He's not.
Yeah, oh,
He's not.
there's no like subtleties. It was like maybe it was like nah, this man want butt, and he
Gay.
wants that guy's butt, and straight
He
up.
wants his butt. He wants his butt. But what I was gonna say though is I remember there was a time I was inspired by Deathstroke and how annoying it was. Because like one of the ways they always try to redeem a character that I find so fucking annoying is they give the character a fucking kid. That's what they always do to
I
try
think
and
they
start
did a
making
Harley
you
Quinn.
relate to the character.
And Harley Quinn Joker has a kid, and that's why he's
Yeah,
like a relatable guy.
exactly. It's always a kid, and usually it's a girl. Like they'll give them a young girl because it's easier
Joker
to
has a
relate.
son.
Yeah, but I'm saying usually speaking, they'll give them a young girl because they know you're gonna feel more sympathy for a
Nah, I know
young
what you mean.
girl.
Yeah, it's usually
Yeah,
some daughter. It's like I
exactly.
was a
Maybe that was
hardened war
thinking.
criminal, and then I had a daughter, and I'm like, oh, this
Yeah,
precious life. I don't
exactly.
deserve to hold her. My hands are stained in blood.
Yeah. So then I thought to myself, I was like, how can you redeem a murderous like psychopath? Not redeem them, but make them like relatable in a way, or at least you can actually understand them. And I was like, what if you just gave them a methodology to what they were doing that made sense? Like not made sense like conventionally, but made sense when you look at it, right?
Like
I was
Killmonger,
like, okay, what were you gonna say?
like Killmonger.
Yeah, like Killmonger. And one of the ways I did that is like I remember I made this assassin. I was like, I'm not gonna give him some heroic mission or anything. I was like, he's just gonna have you're gonna see that he has deeper motivations, but they're batshit and they are crazy. And his motivations was that every person he killed in his like religion would become his like slave in the afterlife. So like he would kill people because in his mind he would like own them when he died. And he was building
It's
like a
not good.
yeah, it wasn't good. I was like, but how do you make it like interesting without go ahead and just making it like he's trying to save the world or some
Man,
stupid shit? I was like, oh, that would be interesting.
He
I'd read that.
becomes an eternal party. He's just like, yo, bro. Once I die, you'll all be like my slaves in the afterlife, and we'll just live it up, bro. We'll live it up.
Yeah, pretty much is what he was saying. And he in his mind, it's really basically in his religion, there was like a Valhalla, right? And you had to kill as many people as you possibly could to own to get like the like a reputable space within that Valhalla. And like that's what he believed. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
He
But
might as well kill
anyways,
the entire planet. God
yes, it's
damn.
because one more thought about that because it's not. It's more so like the problem is with when they try to push the narrative of nah he wasn't really a bad guy, he was a good guy after
He's
all, right? Like
misunderstood.
yeah, he's misunderstood, but when they go the route of not necessarily pushing that no he was really a good guy, but it was more of like all right, he's not evil for the sake of being evil, like he's still
yeah.
evil, but it's not just because he wanted to be evil, like there was something that drove him to that point or put him in that direction.
Because I was like,
So
because I was like,
he's
yeah,
not necessarily just the evil. I was gonna say he's just not as bad as people think he is. That
exactly.
doesn't mean you have to push the narrative of him being completely good
Exactly.
either.
Yeah, I wanted to make a character
Yeah,
intriguing, a villain intriguing without redeeming them. I was like, how
yeah,
can you make this villain understandable without redeeming them and making it seem like what they're doing is not that bad? I was like, I want what they're doing to still seem reprehensible. And even after understanding what they're doing, you're still like, that's still pretty shitty to do though.
yeah.
But yeah. I wonder if should we talk about Fresh or should we save that for a separate video? What do you guys?
We just
Mm,
save it for another video.
Yeah. I mean, we could just shoot the shit for a little
not
bit.
not gonna lie, we talked a lot about Fresh at the crib, so
Yeah, we did.
We should have Emilio on when we talk about Fresh.
Should,
That would be good.
because it resonated with him. It resonated with him. He really felt that movie.
Yeah.
It was a good
yeah,
movie.
was it the one? Or,
That was a good film.
Nah,
But anyway,
I think he already fucked with it, and then the
then when
wine,
he came in,
he's like, yeah, this movie hit.
and when he looked back, he had his eyes open like, yo, this is really good.
um,
And it's funny because he showed up like 20 minutes after it was on.
After it was over,
Like,
you mean after it started?
yeah, after it was on.
he
After it
didn't
was
really
on.
miss anything that important though. Like he
Yeah,
got
He
everything was easy to get.
yeah,
No,
he
I'm
missed
saying
any
like
setup.
everything was easy to get in the moment that
That's
he
what I'm
came
saying.
in.
He didn't miss any like real setup. Like if he had
Oh,
came in halfway where my man's Fresh is already on the move, I'd have been like, nah, we gotta throw it back because he don't even understand why this kid's doing nothing yet.
Speaking of so
yeah.
like all right, so in terms of villains, do you guys like story arcs where someone is becoming a villain? You guys like stories like that?
Um,
Where someone's becoming a villain? What do you mean?
Like, let's say it's not that maybe they're not the main character, but someone on their way to being a villain. Like you watch their descent into villainousness.
I think it depends on
Thinking
the story.
what you've seen Yu-Gi-Oh, right? The first iteration, like the original,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
show. Would you consider someone like Bakura being like that kind
Was
of
that the
character?
guy who was
The
possessed?
white haired guy.
Yeah, the white hair guy.
and he was possessed, right?
He was on his way, like he was trying to get one of the Millennium pieces,
All right.
or he already had one,
So
but he
like
was
I'm
trying to
gonna
get.
I'm gonna stop you on that one only because he was possessed. Like he himself wasn't a villain, and like hell, he's not even like a named character. He's literally some random fucking guy. He's
No, but
possessed by
that's what I'm
some
saying. He's not.
random guy. He's just a villain.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
there's
he's
no
not.
dissent. There's no like, oh, I watch him because he's just a villain the whole time.
But
Yeah, he
what's his normal self then? When he's
Oh,
not
he was
when
supposed
when
to
possessed,
he,
be
when you see
Jekyll
him
and Hyde
being all
stuff.
nice, that was his normal self. But
that
like
wasn't a
Yeah.
facade.
it
Like he
was
was really
it
No,
possessed.
that's
was
Oh,
it
okay.
real.
was it was like the personality that the guy had before, and like the villain was just like keeping up with it.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay,
Um,
so I guess that wouldn't fit.
Yeah, like
I
he
like
doesn't
characters like
become a
that.
villain. No.
Like, you know, I'm gonna slide into brief pitch territory here, but there's this thing I was writing, right? And there's a villain I'm making who's not really a villain. Like this is I guess you could call me a hypocrite now, but like this guy oh crap. Basically in the story, right? This guy, when we first meet him,
Fuck was
um
that? You gotta make it short.
it was a peanut butter. It was a peanut butter. I mean peanut butter. Peanut. Basically, the one of the characters, the main villain, really, because you have the good guy and the bad guy, right? And the good guy is like a very noble, heroic kind of guy who's very naive. And the guy who's the villain, he's also a noble guy, but he's more tempered by like he's seen some shit. He's seen what people are capable of. And his main mission is like he wants to protect people. He wants to stop those terrible things from happening. And basically they were a part of this group. And what happens is the guy who put the group together, like their mentor, he chooses the guy who's more naive to be the leader, and he has like this very generic reasoning as to why he did it. And the other guy gets angry because he's like, no, he's too young, and he's also thinking in his head that like he's like, not only is he too young, but he cannot bear the weight. He's like, the weight will ruin him. He's like, I should be the one in like bearing that weight, and he ends up becoming a villain, like it leads to a splinter among the team, and he takes people who follow him, who believe in his mission, and he becomes like this reluctant villain where as he's like leading people, he's forced to do darker and darker things, and people start to deify him and worship him as this like god, and like he doesn't want to be worshipped as a god, but he also can't stop it. And then I wanted it to become even more depressing, or later there's supposed to be like an ultimate fight between him and the other guy. And then like he finally admits that he actually wanted to stop doing this shit a long time ago. But things got carried away so far that if he stopped now, someone else would have just taken his place. And that person probably wouldn't have been as good as him. So
Yeah,
he
like
had no choice.
copycats. Yeah, like
What do you
copycats.
say?
Like
Yeah,
copycats. When they see somebody that is on like a string of like
exactly.
you see it with murderers, like serial
Exactly.
killers,
Yeah. He was
and
scared of
they
that.
get inspired to do the same.
I mean, it's like
Yeah, he
you
was
really
scared of
can't
that.
stop an idea, and if you perpetuate the idea too far, it's too late. It's out there, you know.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he
Exactly.
caused the movement at that point. It's like a whole entire
Yeah, he
movement.
was afraid of his own followers. Like you learn he was afraid of his own followers. Like one guy was like his like closest advisor. He actually hated this guy, but the guy kind of kept following him around, and that's the guy he was scared of the most. He was like, if I stop doing this,
Like some
this guy
Starscream
will.
shit.
Yeah, Starscream, pretty much. He's like, if I stop, Starscream will take my place, and he will be much fucking worse.
Oh my
He will.
god,
He won't have any noble motivations. He'll just do shit for the sake of doing it.
Starscream
I just
is a
thought
piece
that
of
was
shit. Just so everyone knows,
like,
Starscream is Megatron's bad, but Starscream, oh my god,
it's funny you
he's
mentioned.
incompetent,
I
bad.
was really happy you mentioned Starscream because literally as I was making his like second in command who followed him around, he was supposed to be inspired by Starscream. Like he would act like Starscream. Like that was how his personality was supposed to be. And I even like because the characters in my thing they build like their own technology,
Hmm.
and his thing was he had like armor that could like transform and allow him to fly because Starscream. I was like he's gonna be like Starscream.
Man.
Yeah.
But going back to the question, there was You remember the storyline in Shaolin Showdown when Omi became evil? I like that storyline because he didn't become evil for any old reason. He literally had to become evil because it was like they like forced him to be evil. It's like, look, this is for the betterment of your people. Like work under me. Like so he had to like work with Chase Young and like he didn't want to do it, but he's like, I gotta beat your ass now. And it really showed you that Omi was not the one to play with, bro. Like
Yep.
like he was a smoke demon.
He was holding back. That's what they
Like
showed you. He was holding back.
and then like there was a time I liked it because there was two times he went evil, right? It was like when he like literally got corrupted and he was like actually like evil, and then the other time where he had to like reluctantly like choose to go with Chase Young because of the some agreement. I don't remember the agreement, but he's like, yeah, I have to go. So he was just like there, and he was like, he didn't want to do it. And I like both of those storylines because you can see the difference in the motivations. Because like actual evil Omi he was even worse. He was even worse. Like he was an actual smoke god. I would be terrified if this man was actual evil. Chase Young, he saw the potential in him after that, which is why he even chose to make Omi his protege.
Random hypothetical.
Hmm?
Which one of us or who in your friends group do you think would be the most terrifying if they had some evil shift and became a supervillain?
Teray. Um, Teray
Teray?
Foster. Teray Foster. Imagine, imagine that man with evil intention.
Yeah, that is a terrifying thought.
Yo, because bro, we were only in high school when we met this man, and he already earned our what is it, adoration?
He was our Emilio back then.
Adulation, admiration.
We looked at this man like he could do nothing.
Not he could do nothing wrong.
Yeah, that's why I
Like,
didn't finish the statement. I was
he
like,
was
it's
invincible.
Like, yeah, it was like, there's nothing he can't do. That's what it is. We looked at it, it was like, yeah, man, like if this man turned into a dog right now, I'd believe it. Right?
Yeah. We
So if
joke
this
that
man,
he ripped off his face and there was an alien underneath, we wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, so I was like, if that man was actual evil, if he had actual bad intentions, crazy.
I think. I'm trying to think who would tear like beyond Teray. Like, I feel like Ray is too fair to be an actual. Like, I feel like if he would be, he'd be more of like a noble kind of villain, and he wouldn't be as
He'd have a fair
scary. Like, I don't think
chance.
he'd be as scary. He'd give you a chance. EJ, I just can't even visualize him being a villain. I can't even see it.
Yeah, same. I can't do it. Wasn't an option.
Like, can you imagine EJ just turning evil or some shit?
Bro, I feel like
Thanks.
no, I can't. I just can't. I feel like if Emilio went bad, that'd be bad too.
Yeah.
I was thinking of that
But
just now.
I think he'd just be like a crazy Florida man though.
Yeah. Yeah, just doing random shit, like chaotic evil. Yeah.
Like true fear. I can't think of anyone I'd truly be afraid of.
You can't predict, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing with Teray. You know, you wouldn't be able to predict what he's going to do next.
I could see Ref sitting in a throne, surrounded by a bunch of women feeding them grapes, bottle in hand.
Bro.
I can't see current me ever becoming evil. Like in terms of like if something were like current me is a little too.
Oh
different.
yeah, past you, I would have shot you on sight, 100%.
I always make the joke that I would not have wanted to be in a situation where I had to outsmart my younger self because I think he'd win. I think you'd win. Like if it's like come to thinking on your feet, like just coming up with some random.
What do you like? It doesn't even have to be good. It'd just be fascinating. Like he'd already be on the next thing.
You would just think of some shit right away.
And you literally like see the play and be like, "Yo, bro, that's dumb." He's like, "Had to do what I gotta do."
That's what I gotta do. And past me would not have the moral qualms that where I have to stop and think about something, or he would just do shit. Like, oh, I gotta kill this person. Boom, they're dead. He's like, yeah, I killed them. Now, what do I do now? It's like I thought you were gonna have like a moral wrestle.
Not even, didn't even give me time to like pull my gun out and shoot the gun out your hand. You just pulled the trigger. Wow, that's how it is. But yeah, that is it. Also, that nigga Raimundo, fuck that nigga. Just,
Man, that guy was a dickhead, man. He became evil for no reason.
he became evil for bitches. He became evil for bitches and
That guy was
video
a dickhead.
games. Fuck that guy. He
But
became the
yeah,
Dragon
so-
Warrior. Fuck that shit, bro.
Man sold his soul. He sold his soul.
He really did. Wuya came looking like a baddie, and he was like, she was like, yo, you want to come over here? We got cookies. And he was like, I bet. That's all it took. That's all it took for that man to be evil.
It's kind of funny, I guess. But man.
You know what they should have done? They should have made Clay evil. That's what I would want to see.
Oh yeah, Clay. He probably would have been unstoppable. He was one of the most powerful characters.
Yeah,
Right.
just physically, like he was just an actual powerhouse.
And he also was not retarded. Like he was actually a smart guy.
Yeah, he thought outside the box. There was a whole episode about how outside the box he thinks.
Yeah. Man. Speaking of one more thing on villains. Do you guys like I feel like people are lacking in making villains like this. I'm getting tired of villains that have to have these deep, noble motivations. Like, why can't villains just be motivated by money or some shit like they used to be?
Greed. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Greed or like power hungry.
Exactly. Why can't they
Yeah.
just be power hungry or just be like really fucked in the head or something? Why they always gotta have some noble mission? Like, I feel like it's getting old.
It is getting old. It's.
I mean, I never get tired of hearing a noble mission if it's done well. Like if it's exceptionally written.
if
I'll
it's
never get
done
tired of
well,
it.
but a lot of times
Yeah.
it's not. It's just like tacked on.
See, even when it's done well, it's starting to annoy me because I feel like there are just zero villains that are just bad people. Like they're trying really hard to veer away from that now. I'm like, they say it's because they want to be realistic, but I don't think that's realistic. I
Bro,
like
you
said,
know why
Ray,
scammers are scamming people? Because they want money.
yeah,
Like,
they're bad. Yeah, money is one of the most
it's like they want
realistic.
money. I won't even say it's
motivations.
because they're bad people. They want money. And you know what's the easier way to get money? Scam people. It's easy.
Exactly. A villain doesn't have to be this like super relatable person. Sometimes you can be like the person can just be so reprehensible that they're just fascinating to watch. Like look at No Country for Old Men. Did you see that movie, EJ?
Yeah. I remember what's his name? The actor Javier Bardem. He played Shigur. He was a
Yeah.
cool villain.
That guy
Cool
was a
villain.
very interesting villain, very interesting to watch. Had a very weird take on morality.
Yeah.
But he had no motivations beyond being a fucking psychopath who was completely unpredictable as well. Like completely unpredictable. That was one of the most fascinating things about him. You didn't know what was coming next. Like that man was crazy, man. And they gave him a cool method of killing people. I think that's another thing that made him interesting. Because he had the what was it? The fucking
The coin.
yeah, the gas thing. That
He had a
just
shotgun. I remember he had a shotgun.
he had a shotgun, but he kept using the gas thing because he didn't want to like. What he would do, Ray, is so he didn't have to leave any bullets. He would take like this gas thing and like they would know what he was doing. He'd be like, "Oh, could you stand still?" And he'd put it like against your head or some shit, and then boom, that shit would blow a hole through your head. And then
Oh, is this like compressed air or something?
yeah, compressed air. That's what it was. And then he would kill people with that shit. That was so cool,
That's.
man. Yeah,
If he put it in the right spot, it'd be painless at least.
yeah, because they would die instantly when he did it. Remember when he went into the man's store and he was telling him to flip the coin, and he had the guy terrified. The guy's like, "What do I have to lose?" He's like, "Everything. Flip the coin."
Yeah.
He's like, the guy.
One thing about his character though, like he was I remember him being principled. He was very principled.
That's what
with
I
the way
meant
he
about
did
the
things.
morality thing.
Yeah.
He was so chaotic and so psychopathic, but he had these clear set principles that he followed. Very
He
principled
didn't
man.
veer away from it. He didn't veer away
Yeah, that's
from
what
it.
made him very interesting.
Yeah.
He was an evil, psychotic piece of shit, but he was still very principled. It was a way of showing that you can be principled and still be evil.
Yeah, Dexter's like that. That's why
yeah,
that's why he only kills those that committed evil. But then,
Yeah.
you know, they try to do a deep dive and explore, is it really that, or is it just a reason for him to feel justified in killing others? Like, does he just burden himself because he doesn't want to face the truth, which is that he's really
Yeah,
evil?
the reason Dexter has such good writing in terms of Dexter is because they do both. Where it's like, well, one, when you first meet him,
Yeah.
they're really trying to show you that he does not give a fuck. Like he's killing these people because he needs to kill. Like that's what they do. But then later they start wrestling with the idea of maybe he actually does have morality and he
Yeah.
actually doesn't understand himself. And like I loved when they started getting into that territory. I was like, oh, this is interesting. Because like
And then
it's like
even when like he sets up the kill room and he's ready to kill his victims, and he hangs up like all the pictures of the people that they killed,
yeah,
and he was like, "Look at what you've done! Look at it!" It's like if for him, he has to do that. Like he has to show them. Like it makes him feel better about what he's doing.
all right. You got any
It's
hypotheticals
funny.
for us today, EJ?
I don't think I have any.
I could think of one.
Let's see.
All
All right, go ahead if you have one.
right, let me think of one.
Why are you thinking?
Okay.
Oh, that's fast. Shit.
Oh, you want to have one instead?
No, I was just going to talk about villains.
Oh,
But go on.
Yeah,
would you rather be a hero who's weak and slowly learning their powers, or an insanely powerful villain?
Hero.
Hero?
Like, I just can't be a villain. I can't do it. I'm not.
Okay, what if you're allowed to be a principled villain?
Yeah,
And you
I'm
have
not.
to learn?
Look, man, I'm not a villain. Like, I'm just not a villain.
hey,
and like
you
I
ain't have it in you when you play Undertale, right? You ain't have it in you.
I only did it because I had to see the ending, and like that was the whole point. It was like, did you really have to? And I was like, yes. And I was actually thinking about this earlier today because I was thinking it's like, I was thinking about the Matrix and like being like in the simulation. And I was like, what if like we gave humans like the ability to like be unleashed from the simulation? Like, what if they really got God mode? And like, that would be horrible. It'd be horrible because we've seen what happens when people have the simulation. Like when they have true, unlimited access. Like you've seen what people do when they play the fucking Sims. That shit's scary. And that's just the shit that we allow them to do within the realms of that game. Like when you get to real open sandbox type shit, like people do some crazy shit. So
Yeah.
I can't be a villain because when I play the
What about
Sims,
you?
I just make a house.
What
What
about
was
you?
what was the hypothetical again?
You could either be a hero who's weak and like you're just weak as fuck, like you're trying your best, or you could be a godlike villain who's just mad
Yeah.
powerful.
If I'm the hero, do I get plow armor?
Nope. You get your ass whipped all the time. Yeah.
You gotta learn your powers.
Yeah, plow armor, man.
I mean, I guess you
Uh,
technically would have to have plot armor, right? Because like if you're learning your powers, you
I
can't
wanted to
die,
like
right?
the risk of you dying is very real. You can fucking die. You can die.
my
Oh,
story's cut short. I go villain, man. Because if I'm a weak hero, I'm not gonna be remembered as much as the villain. Like when you take down a villain, like they still talk about them 1,000 years later. Like yeah, in the war of 1874, he struck down the mighty god with fierce power. They still talk about that. Like I'll still be a timestamp, in history that people remember me for, even if
Yeah.
I lose.
Yeah.
And I feel like it'll be funner because I'm like unhinged
see,
and
look,
I'm not
look. This is what
I'm not I'm
happens.
not burdened
This
I'm
is
not
what
burdened
happens. You
I'm not
give people
burdened by
power.
principles and
You give people
I think
power. They
we
go
I
crazy.
think we misjudged, Ray. I think we
That's the evil. Yeah, that's evil right there.
man, it's a hard question because it's like
Nah, bro. I think it'd be more fun to be the hero who has to learn his powers. Cause
That's fun for you getting your ass whooped, being weak.
yeah,
Shit,
bro. I play
I
Dark
guess that could
Souls.
be
I've
fun.
played all the Dark Souls. That's
people become
literally
more
how it
powerful.
is.
You know,
Like you,
being a
like
villain, it's like Ray said. I don't want to be forced to like have to murder people and shit. Like if I could be like one of the noble villains, like the villain I was describing, who it's like he's forced into a. But then even then, no, I would not want to go through that because like the whole point of when I was writing that character, it was inspired by fucking a little bit of Dune, except he wasn't. He was viewed as a villain, but by some people. But this guy's literally doing evil shit, and he has no choice. His life is no longer in his control. I would not want to live that way. So I think I'd have to go over the hero. Yeah, yeah. Because like hero, I could learn my powers. I could try my best.
and I'd get people calling me hero all the time. It'd be great.
What you doing, hero? Like Yvonne.
Yeah,
It's like hero.
bro, man. How you gonna look at a man, call him a hero, and make it an insult?
It made it sound like he was calling him the N word.
Yeah, basically. God damn. That was a
Hero.
true villain. Also,
Yeah.
it was great, the reveal when it was at Rubber Band Man, who's his brother. I was just like, it makes a lot of sense. They had very similar power sets. It was good.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
Yeah, but he didn't give a fuck about that kid. Yeah.
I mean, he was evil. Like,
yeah.
like if
Yeah.
anyone would have turned you, looked you in the face, and was like, "I love being fucking evil," it was a Bond.
Yeah. I love being fucking evil.
Because he
But
really
anyway,
he could have just been a good guy, but nah, he was like, "Oh, I have all this power, time to do all the same evil shit I was doing before."
yeah. He was like, now I could do it faster.
Yeah. Say the thing.
But yeah, we'll let you guys go. Stop eating up so much of your time with our ranting and our obsession with cartoons, our childlike obsession with cartoons.
Nah, go watch Puss in
Now,
Boots, bro. Go watch that shit.
yeah,
Shark
go. Yeah,
Five. Shark 5 are gonna drop.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is a good movie. It does a lot of stuff really well. Uh, Next time we hear talking about a film, it will be about the movie Fresh. So make sure you come in to check that out.
Fresh not fit.
Go watch that if you haven't seen it yet, man.
Yeah, it's
Hell
a
of a
great
movie.
film.
That's your
Hell of a
homework.
movie.
Go watch Fresh.
Hell of a movie.
Watch Fresh. And catch you same bad place, same bad time. Deuces.